You're listening to The Stephen Torriello Show, building a platform of liberty for people in search of truth with a dash of hope and a life worth living. The Stephen Torriello Show. And now, here's Stephen.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the show. As always, thank you for tuning in. And man, do we have a lot of stories to go through. There has been some bombshell breaking news that has dropped in the last 48 hours, maybe even the last 24 hours. And so I'm going to try my best to get everything in today's show and try and talk about all this because there's a lot of stuff that has happened. Kevin McCarthy announces an official impeachment inquiry into Joe Biden. So I got an article here, hat tip to Gateway Pundit. The Freedom Caucus chairman, Scott Perry, unloads on reporter who says Republicans' impeachment inquiry of Biden is about political revenge. I told you. I told these people. I told the Democrats. I told the leftists that they were being lied to by their media. And I told them to start paying attention because this was going to happen and they were going to be shocked. The leftist Democrats have no clue what is going on because they will not leave their echo chamber. That is what is going on here. You have a group of people that are so consumed by hatred of Donald Trump that they cannot leave their echo chamber for fear of hearing the truth. They are in so deep in their confirmation bias that they cannot leave. And so therefore, when they hear that Joe Biden is being impeached, they automatically assume that it's revenge. No. There is a mountain of evidence of Joe Biden and the Biden family committing crimes. Not one crime, not two, multiple crimes. And I warned them. I said, you better pay attention. You better pay attention because this was getting to a point. I knew this was going to happen. And honestly, and we're going to talk about how I feel about impeachment and where I think the real problem lies right now. And I'm just going to say it right now. It's not impeachment of Joe Biden. Now, does impeachment need to happen? Yes. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. And we should have done this regardless. It's just a shame that the Biden family was allowed to go 20 years with no investigation, no subpoenas, no warrants, no questions, no nothing. 20 years, folks, 20 years. And tens of millions of dollars. And what the hell was Bill Barr doing? What the hell was this guy doing? And what pisses me off the most is that this is exactly what Donald Trump was looking into, and they impeached him for it. Go figure. Donald Trump was right again. My God, man. So I got an article here, hat tip to Christina Layla. Freedom Caucus chairman Scott Perry unloaded on a reporter who claimed Republicans' impeachment inquiry of Joe Biden is political revenge. Speaker McCarthy on Tuesday announced he is directing House committees to open an impeachment inquiry against Joe Biden. And here is Kevin McCarthy announcing that impeachment inquiry right here. Check this out.
You know, in the months that we were gone and the weeks, House Republicans have uncovered serious and credible allegations into President Biden's conduct. Taken together, these allegations paint a picture of a culture of corruption. Now, here's what we know so far. Through our investigations, we have found that President Biden did lie to the American people about his own knowledge of his family's foreign business dealings. Eyewitnesses have testified that the president joined on multiple phone calls and had multiple interactions, dinners resulted in cars and millions of dollars into his son's and his son's business partners. We know that bank records show that nearly $20 million in payments were directed to the Biden family members and associates through various shell companies. That's why today I am directing our House committee to open a formal impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden. This logical next step will give our committees the full power to gather all the facts and answers for the American public. That's exactly what we want to know, the answers. I believe the president would want to answer these questions and allegations as well.
You got so much corruption in this government. You guys don't think that they spend trillions of dollars on nothing, right? I mean, this is what I'm saying. Like, this is our tax money. These people are rolling in money. They are the richest, most powerful people on the face of the planet. These people are rolling in money like a bunch of dirty pigs. The citizenry of this country has been knocked out of the loop for so long. They have been uninformed for so long that it has assured the bureaucrats and the politicians in our government that we're not even paying attention. So imagine you doing your everyday job, and then you feel comfortable enough to where you can make side deals, skim some money off the top. Oh, they'll never find out. Oh, I'll sell a favor here, sell some influence here. And nobody says anything. 20 years they've been doing this? The Biden scandal, and nobody said nothing? No, this goes deeper. This goes deeper. How did Bill Barr not look into this? How the hell did Donald Trump end up getting impeached for this? Because this is the exact same scandal Donald Trump was looking into, and they impeached him for it. How pissed off are people going to be, or how pissed off should people be, if it turns out that Donald Trump was right in looking into the Ukrainian corruption in the Biden family, and this freaking Democrat Party impeached him for it? And you had how many Republicans vote for it too? No, folks. This government, this Congress, this government's too corrupt. We got to take it back. We got to get this country back. It's gone. The dog has been let loose. These people are free to do whatever they want, and they have been for decades. No, man. The American people got to get their country back. All right, so a British reporter asked Representative Scott Perry, what actual evidence do Republicans have to show to the American public that would merit an impeachment inquiry of Joe Biden? First of all, what is a British reporter doing? Like, don't they have their own problems going on over there in Britain? I mean, I get that, the Britons are obsessed with our politics, but I'm pretty sure they got their own issues going on over there. But anyways, here is audio of Scott Perry absolutely unloading on this reporter. And then I don't know who the second guy is talking, but I believe he is an impeachment attorney. I'm not sure. But here's the audio for that. Check this out.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I just ask, what actual evidence do you have as opposed to allegations to show to the American public that would merit an actual impeachment inquiry of Joe Biden and prove that today isn't just about some of you...
Oh, I don't know.
McCarthy for the sake of enacting political revenge.
This isn't about political revenge. We have the bank accounts. We can see, ma'am, you can see that the homes that the Bidens own can't be afforded on a congressional or Senate salary. You also understand that it's not normal for family members to receive millions of dollars from overseas interests. Those things aren't normal. That's not normal to have 20 shell companies. These things are not normal, and it alludes to not only just widespread corruption, but money laundering, if not influence peddling itself. And we also have the president, the vice president at the time, on record saying that the prosecutor was fired. Well, son of a bitch. The prosecutor was fired, right? Because the prosecutor was going after the company that his son was working on. That's what we have. If you can't see that, if you are that blind, look, I'll turn it over to the attorneys.
People can't see that. They think it's political revenge.
It's because you don't report on it.
You're not, We're here reporting on it today.
I'm not sure how you know what the American people think, but here's what they might wonder. Actually, if you're a federal prosecutor, you would be asking yourself, how can there not have been an indictment for FARA violation against Hunter Biden? How can there possibly, my understanding and discussions with staff have confirmed my impulse that this would be very much the basis of a Foreign Corrupt Practices Act investigation given the circumstances that we know. The question is, it's funny. After we come out of the events that John Durham, for example, testified to our committees about how investigations proceeded through our investigative agencies without proper predication, it's not that you have to prove the case. It's not that, you understand, to this point, there's not been a single subpoena to a Hunter Biden bank account or a Joe Biden bank account or any other Biden family member's bank account, because until an impeachment inquiry commences, that's not a jurisdictional possibility. Well, it would be stretching jurisdiction to do that. But there's ample predication at this point in time based on that very unusual set of circumstances, which is for no apparent payment for expertise or services rendered. Biden family members writ large received over $20 million.
That we know of.
It is very simple for someone just to insist there's an absence of evidence. But if you can look in the face of that and contend that's, anyone has a right to their opinion. What they can't do is change the facts.
And I invite you to go to the website clyde.house.gov/Biden crime family, and you will see all the evidence from the Oversight Committee. You will see all the evidence. And if you're willing to read it, I think you'll be convinced.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right. So the reporter obviously accused Republicans of using impeachment to enact political revenge. This is not revenge, folks. This is not revenge. I know that they probably would think this was revenge, but the amount of evidence, that there is a mountain of evidence that has built up behind Joe Biden and his corrupt family over the past 20 years, it is undeniable. It would be wrong. It would be morally and ethically wrong to not open an impeachment inquiry into the Biden family and Joe Biden. More specifically, Joe Biden. This is not an impeachment of the Biden family. This is not an impeachment of Hunter Biden. This is an impeachment inquiry into Joe Biden. This is what people are getting confused, I think, on the Democrat side. These people think, what does Hunter have to do with anything? This is because their media has been lying to them for the last 8 years. These people refuse to leave their echo chamber. They refuse to accept anything other than what they hear from Joe and Mika. These people have been, I want to say brainwashed, but that is just so taboo at this point. These people have been left astray. They have been deceived. There's a better word. By their media. They have been deceived because their media was not taking this serious, or they were taking it serious, but they didn't think anything was going to happen of it. Or the third option is they knew it was going to happen, but they were just going to continue on with the propaganda campaign anyways. But I remember warning specifically that this was going to happen and that people on the Democrat side should better be paying attention because it's not good. And here we are. And so good job for Scott Perry unloading on that reporter. She absolutely deserved it. And I think it was necessary. That's why I picked this audio, because what that reporter just asked is exactly how the Democrats are thinking right now. Because obviously she's a leftist, because you can just tell now, you can tell which side reporters support based off their questions. That's how divided everything is. That's how partisan everything has become. That's how tribal everything has become. Instead of asking just questions, they ask loaded questions that are more like editorial questions from the Washington Post. So you know automatically which sides they're on. And so I want to get back to the article. The far left reporter tried to push back and continue to shill for Joe Biden. And she said, quote, "The people don't see that. They think it's political revenge." And this is where Scott Perry blasted back at her and said, "Because you don't report on it." Yep. Ding, 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 ding. Absolutely. So according to a CNN poll, the majority of Americans believe Joe Biden was involved with his son Hunter's business dealings. To a CNN poll. This is, everybody knows the very first thing you ask somebody about Joe Biden if you ask them, just a normal person, a normal Democrat that's not completely insane, that's not suffering from Trump derangement syndrome, you ask them, do you think the Biden you think Joe Biden's corrupt? Yeah. Yep. They don't even hesitate. They don't even have to think about it. Now, if you ask a Trump deranged Democrat, do you think Joe Biden's corrupt? They'll bring up Donald Trump. I mean, that's not them rejecting the notion that Joe Biden is corrupt. That's just them trying to deflect to Donald Trump. So even they know that Joe Biden certainly looks corrupt. It certainly does. I mean, I got an audio clip of CNN talking about this just 6 months ago, how this looked very, very inappropriate. And this was before we had all the evidence that we do now. Here, check this out.
So now Ryan Goodman is with me. So Ryan, okay, let's just go through what Manu just reported, because on a certain level, just as a layperson, you hear this, and it doesn't sound good. There's a guy whose name is John Robinson Walker. He gets $3 million from a Chinese space company and proceeds to wire it out to a bunch of people named Biden, one of whom is Hunter Biden. Another one is a company that belongs to the president's brother, James Biden, and another amount of money to Beau Biden's widow, Hallie. So again, from a layperson, that doesn't look good. Is it damaging legally?
Not necessarily damaging legally. Like when I look at all of the facts that are alleged in the 4-page memo, It looks potentially unethical, but it's difficult to match it up with any illegality or crime. And for all the reasons that you say and more, the fact that there's a pass-through, the money is not even going directly to these members of the Biden family, but through this third person, the timing of it, 2 months after he steps down as vice president. This is happening with his family, and one of the payments is in 2015. That's starting to look like potentially influence peddling, but not illegal.
Right. Not okay. But you're saying possibly unethical, which of course then becomes more of a political or a thing for voters to decide more than legally.
So there you go. Now, the way that he responded is perfect, because that's how these people feel. Oh, it may be inappropriate, but is it really illegal? I mean, this is the line that we have drawn. This is the line that we have drawn. So with all this stuff that we've heard, well, this was before the FD 1023 form, the FBI informant came out. This was before the whistleblowers came out. This was just with the SAR reports and the emails and the audio and the video. This was before Shokin. This was before a lot of the stuff. And so 6 months ago, even they said, oh, this looks inappropriate, but is it illegal? Yeah, I think it is. We're going to find out. I mean, I don't see how it's not. I mean, even on the FARA part, just like that impeachment attorney said, I can't remember his name. I should have probably looked that up. Just on FARA violations alone, Joe Biden could have been a co-conspirator. You don't have to link the money to Joe Biden for him to be a co-conspirator in Hunter Biden's FARA violations. Mark Levin broke this down weeks ago, and we actually did an episode on this. I don't know when, but it was a while ago. FARA violations. So therefore, if Hunter Biden is not registered under the Foreign Agents Registration Act as he's collecting all this money, which we know he's been collecting millions of dollars. It's plain as day. It's right there on the bank records. It goes into all the Biden's accounts. That is a direct violation of FARA. How the hell was he never investigated or prosecuted for FARA violations? That's one question. Well, there's a lot of questions. So there's a lot of questions, but the co-conspirator part, the way that Joe Biden is tied to the FARA violations is because he was assisting his son in all these business deals. So he was assisting his son into making the millions of dollars, and so therefore he is a co-conspirator in Hunter Biden's FARA violations. And this is, listen, man, we're going to be getting into all of it because this is a big deal. This is a big deal. This is an actual real impeachment, not like the partisan one-sided impeachments that they did on Donald Trump where they just made stuff up, where they just made stuff up out of whole cloth. I mean, they had no evidence. The only thing that they had no evidence whatsoever. All they had was whistleblowers like Alexander Vindman, who was a disgruntled employee that was pissed off because Donald Trump didn't follow the script that Alexander Vindman wrote out to him. And instead, Donald Trump was asking about this. He was asking about this corruption, this stuff we're talking about right now. Donald Trump was asking questions about this, and he got impeached. That impeachment needs to be expunged. That needs to be expunged. This is what happens when you do bogus partisan impeachments against all constitutional norms. Unprecedented impeachments. This is what happens when you do bogus, unprecedented impeachments against somebody that shouldn't have been impeached. This is not revenge. This is an actual legit impeachment that would have happened regardless. And it's just unfortunate there's a Democrat Party that's more than willing to brush this under the rug. This is how corrupt our Congress has been. This is how corrupt our Congress is currently to this day. Because the only reason why we know about this is because Joe Biden's idiot kid left a laptop in a computer repair store. Think of how many other laptops are out there that haven't been left at a computer repair store. This is how much corruption is in our Congress. This is how much corruption is in our government. Deep, deep corruption. The place is a cesspool of corruption. A cesspool. And we have no idea what is going on the insides of those marble walls. None. We have no clue. This is what worries me. Where is all of our money going? If Nancy Mace is talking about she's seen north of $50 million in these SAR reports, $50 million? $50 million. There is way more people involved to be a $50 million scandal. Or $50 million over 20 years, maybe, maybe not. But it just goes to show that this mediocre senator, Joe Biden, who's dumb as a box of rocks, who became VP, who then became president. Now think of people like Barack Obama, how corrupt he is. What kind of scandals did he go through? And this is my biggest point, is how has Barack Obama not been questioned about any of this? Why is this guy untouchable? No subpoenas, no testimony, no questions, no investigations, no nothing? All this stuff happened under his watch. And if I'm not mistaken, I remember reading an article years ago, talking about how the Obama administration, Obama staffers, were concerned about the deals that Hunter Biden was making, and they tried to distance themselves away from Hunter Biden as much as they could. So they knew about this. They knew about it. I can't find that article if my life depended on it. I tried. I can't find it anywhere, folks. I tried. For hours, I tried. I can't remember where I seen it, but I know I read it. I read Obama staffers were concerned about the Hunter Biden's business deals a long time ago. So why has Barack Obama not been questioned? Why does this guy seemingly get away with everything? Why? Because he was our first black president? This is ridiculous. I voted for the guy. He was not that good of a president. And in fact, nobody can even remember what the guy has done. And to be honest, all this corruption that we're watching now, I'm not saying it all started with Barack Obama, but this bureaucracy, this fourth branch of government that we're witnessing right now, this started under Barack Obama. The level of arrogance increased tenfold under the Obama administration. The guy was not even that good of a president. He was not even that good of a president. I don't know why everybody holds this guy up like he's the next coming Jesus. Nobody can even remember what he did. Donald Trump did more for the black community than our first black president. How about them apples? And that's a provable statement. That could be proved on paper. And maybe I'll do that in the next episode. Well, I want to go ahead and get back to this article real quick. Here is just some of the evidence of Joe Biden's corruption and bribery schemes. Number one, House Republicans recently announced that they now have reviewed 170 suspicious activity reports linked to the Biden crime family. Number two, Comer identified the 9 Bidens who are implicated in the corruption. 9 Bidens. My God, man. Here's a statement. Bank records show the Biden family, their associates, and their companies received over $10 million from foreign nationals and their companies. That was from Comer. And here are the names: Hunter Biden, James Biden, Sarah Biden, Haley Biden, Kathleen Biden, Melissa Biden, a niece-nephew, and another niece and nephew, and a grandchild. God. What are grandchildren doing getting money from foreign nations? Folks, this is not normal behavior, all right? So I'm tired of people acting like there's just nothing to see here, especially Democrats and some Republicans. This is not normal behavior. And I'm to a point now to where anybody that doesn't want to look into this seems pretty suspicious to me, almost like they're complicit in it. Because the level of evidence against the Bidens, against Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, the level of evidence is shocking. And anybody that wouldn't want to look further into it either must be involved or complicit in some way. That is the only thing I can think of. Because there's just no other reason why you wouldn't want to look into this. This is corruption. This is exactly what the American people are afraid of happening. I think at this point it's clear and obvious that our government is rogue. They have created this giant cesspool of corruption and just nasty nepotism, swamp creatures, like a giant swamp creature orgy happening in our nation's capital. It is disgustingly corrupt. So Senator Chuck Grassley recently released the FBI document showing Joe Biden was involved in a $10 million bribery scheme with Burisma CEO Mykola Zlochevsky. We did a show on this. Joe Biden publicly bragged about bribing Ukraine with $1 billion to fire Viktor Shokin, the Ukrainian prosecutor general who was investigating Burisma corruption. And you know what? I know you guys have probably heard it 1,000 times, but anybody that hasn't happened to hear this is like this. I don't know who has never heard this audio, but I'm going to go ahead and play it one last time. I'm going to go ahead and play it because it is relevant to the story we're doing. So here, check this out.
I got all the good ones. So I got Ukraine. And I remember going over convincing our team, or others, to convincing us that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I'm not going to, we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired.
And so here we go. Democrats accuse Republicans of a witch hunt when they have provided bank statements, emails, texts, and documents from Hunter Biden's laptop from hell, shell companies, trusted informants, witnesses, whistleblowers, and reports of audio recordings of the Bidens. What other evidence would you need? I mean, what evidence are they looking for? And you know what, folks? I mean, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. There is no amount of evidence that would make these people believe that the Biden family and Joe Biden is corrupt. None. There is no amount of evidence that is going to make these people believe that there should be an impeachment inquiry. It is true tribalism. These people are trapped in their echo chamber. They are stuck in their confirmation bias, and they are not leaving. So, look, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's 17 audio recordings still out there somewhere that FBI informant says are out there. I don't know if when those are going to be coming around, but if I'm not mistaken, I remember maybe 2 weeks ago, Greg Kelly on Newsmax said that there is audio tapes coming out between now and October, at the end of October or something like that. And he stated, well, you know what? Here, I'll just go ahead and play the audio. You guys remember when Greg Kelly said this?
Hasn't seen the half of it yet. There is an audio tape, I am told, by people in the know, not necessarily in government, not necessarily out of government. I can't say too much, but there is incontrovertible evidence of Joe Biden's corruption that is about to be made public. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen before Labor Day, but it will happen sometime between Labor Day and Halloween. This tape will be made public. I'm not sure by what entity at this point, but once it is heard, Joe Biden will have, well, he'll have only two options. Number one, he will not be able to remain a candidate for the presidency for re-election. It will be over and done with. The only thing that he might be able to do, potentially, but probably not, is remain as president. I am told this tape is that incriminating, and they're worried about it right now at the White House. They know about it. They know it's out there. There may be more than one, and it makes a lot of sense.
So I don't know. Maybe, I don't know when there's coming out, but I mean, honestly, even without any kind of audio tape that directly, there is nothing that is going to persuade the leftist Democrats that Joe Biden needs to be under investigation. None. These people are so stuck in their echo chamber. They have been deceived for so long. They are so brainwashed. And it's just funny. The hypocrisy is so thick. How these people are always claiming that Trump supporters are drinking the Kool-Aid when it is clear and obvious these people drank the Kool-Aid a long, long time ago. And one thing you always have to remember is cult members never know they're in a cult until they leave the cult. So, everything the Democrats accuse their opponents of doing, they themselves are guilty of. That is the number one rule of thumb that I've been using for the last almost 10 years, and it has never let me down. Almost every single instance of Democrats accusing their opponents of doing something they themselves were actually doing at the time, have done, or planned on doing in the future. It has never let me down. 99.9% of the time, it's true. So you can only assume that when they say Republicans and conservatives drank the Kool-Aid, that these people drank the Kool-Aid a long time ago. So I just wanted to do a quick episode on that. I'm going to post this tonight. I'm working on another show right after this. And a lot of stuff happening in court. Whole lot of stuff happening in court. So we got a couple stories we're going to read. Donald Trump's legal team filed a motion for recusal of the radical leftist Judge Chutkan. And we're going to be talking about that. I did a little research on how appeals work, what happens if the judge doesn't accept the recusal, and all that, and how long does the appeal process take, what is an appeal process, and all that good stuff. So we're going to be talking about that. There's a lot of stuff we got to talk about, folks. But 48 hours has been some of the biggest news we have seen in probably 6 months. So, we got a lot of stuff to get into. I just wanted to make a little bonus episode specifically about this impeachment, because this is going to be all over the news tomorrow. Everybody's going to be talking about it. So I am going to release it first. And, I usually don't do that. I try to be accurate instead of first, but we've already been talking about this for months. So I actually already assumed that they were going to do this impeachment already. But the one thing that I wanted to say, and I forgot to say this earlier, was I don't think they should be focusing so much on the Biden impeachment. They need to focus on the most rotten parts of this administration, and that is Merrick Garland and Christopher Wray. Yep. So just like my man Kash Patel said, those two, the evil twins, the cover-up artists, Chris Wray and Merrick Garland, Those two are the problem childs. Those two need to be impeached also. Definitely investigated, but I want impeachment inquiries into those two because guess what? Democrats are not going to vote to impeach Joe Biden. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But I think what they need to do is they need to get all the evidence, and that is when this subpoena power comes in with this impeachment inquiry. Now they have more power. Get every single piece of evidence they can find. I want testimony from Hunter Biden, Shokin, all the business partners, Barack Obama. Bring all their asses in there under oath, have them testify, and then get investigative journalists like Matt Taibbi, Julie Kelly, get all these investigative journalists. And I'm sorry if I didn't mention your name. There's a ton of you guys out there that are great at this. Get them together and have them get all the evidence, put it all in one big story in a way that the American people can see it, understand it, follow it, wrap a big bow on it, and send it on its way. That's what I think we should do. Because you're not going to get an impeachment, and I don't want them focusing all their resources and effort and time on Joe Biden. I think it's a waste. The real bad players, the real bad people are Merrick Garland and Christopher Wray. Those two need to be investigated and impeached. Those two are the worst. Joe Biden doesn't even know where he's at, folks. This guy's like on stage 6 dementia. We did an episode about that too. He shows every single characteristic of somebody with dementia. There's 12 of them, and he meets all 12. So Joe Biden has no clue what is going on. They already have a war room set up at the White House, an impeachment war room. So this is going to happen. There's no denying any of this evidence. I've never seen evidence like this before in my life and it not be prosecuted. The one thing, so this is why I say, focus on that. But also they need to focus. I think Merrick Garland, Christopher Wray are the absolute most corrupt people in our Congress right now. And also Eric Holder. Eric Holder, this guy, you want to talk about deep state bureaucrats with a lot of power. Eric Holder, he is the swamp king. And this was just, I was reading about him today. You can hardly find no information on him that hasn't been absolutely scrubbed to a T. They make him sound like he is a godchild, and he is extremely corrupt. His hands are all over this administration. They are all over the Obama administration. People need to know that this is the third term of Obama. It's all the same cabinet people, all the same corrupt players, Lisa Monaco, Merrick Garland, Chris Wray. Chris Wray, he was the cover-up artist for Comey. He was the cover-up artist for all these corrupt investigations. Christopher Wray was the cover-up man for all the persecutions and witch hunts against Donald Trump. He needs to be impeached. Merrick Garland is responsible for covering up for Joe Biden and weaponizing our justice system against Joe Biden's political opponents. Merrick Garland is almost solely responsible. Her and Lisa Monaco are almost directly responsible for the collapse of our justice system and the trust and credibility in our justice system. They are. There's no doubt about it. Merrick Garland, Lisa Monaco. And so I told you I was going to do a episode on all the corrupt players that were involved in all of these corrupt witch hunts against Donald Trump, all of these corrupt schemes that have been going on for the last decade. It's all the same people, folks. All of them. It's all the same people. It's just the same playbook over and over and over again. What we're watching, all these indictments, are nothing but Russia collusion hoax 2.0. It's the same. It's going to have the same effect. They use this to influence the election. That's what they're doing. Just like they did with Russia collusion. Back then, what they were trying to do was trick the Republicans into voting to impeach Donald Trump, not once, but twice. Not for Russia collusion, but for impeachment and January 6th. So now this is just a third impeachment, and essentially they want to use it to kneecap Donald Trump in our 2024 presidential elections. So once Donald Trump gets in, every single one of these people involved in this conspiracy all need to be charged and indicted on conspiracy to violate people's rights, their voting rights. Every single person needs to be held accountable, or this will never stop. The only way it's going to stop is if you fight fire with fire, an eye for an eye. That's all these people understand. The Rubicon has been crossed 15 times over. There is none of this, you better not, and then write a letter and just scare them. No, we are way past that. Anyways, all right, ladies and gentlemen, so that's all. We're going to be talking a lot about that. I'm going to get into all that stuff. But next episode, make sure you tune in. We're going to be talking about all the courts and the motion to recusal and a lot of other stuff. A lot of it's about the justice system. There's all the disparate treatment in the justice system, all that stuff. So make sure you tune into that. I'm going to be working on that right after this show. And then also, if you could share this show with your friends and family, make sure we get it out there. We got to beat the algorithm. Hopefully YouTube even keeps it up. But if not, if they do, you can find the show on YouTube. You can find the show on Rumble. Tell your friends and family they could download the podcast on any podcast platform. I'd really appreciate it. We have to inform our fellow Americans. So, yes, I would really appreciate it if you shared the show with your friends and family. And as always, thank you guys for tuning in. I want you guys to have a good day. Have a great week. God bless you. And God bless America. You guys have a good day. Bye-bye.